Whatever path you are on, whatever inspired you to come here today, we honor you and we welcome you. And now, our message.
Close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. Let's let our mind focus on, as we give, so we shall receive. We know that we live in an absolute, magnificent world of creative ability and opportunities, and we just give great thanks for this. We give great thanks in our hearts now for love, for joy, for the peace that we live in, the peace in this room, the love in this room. We give great thanks for all of it. And also for the realization that as we send our love, and as we send our joy, and as we send our peace out into the world, and out to heal these countries that need our love and our peace, these individuals that need our love and our peace, our peaceful, loving thoughts absolutely radiate beyond our bodies and out into the world, bringing joy and love and peace with them everywhere they go. We know in the message today, the path to happiness, our minds expand and open further to this loving, joyous, peaceful opportunity that resides within each of us. And that as we hear the message and embody it and bring it to life in our lives that we lead, we are absolute walking embodiments of peace and joy and love. Every encounter we have blesses those around us. We don't need to do anything special or be anything big. Our mere presence heals the planet as we watch our thoughts and keep them in peace, love, and joy. We give thanks for all that we have. We give thanks for all that we're learning. And we give thanks for all that is to be. And together we say, and so it is. And our message today is with Reverend Allie and our path to happiness. Yay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to keep Pam up here for a moment because Dr. Pam has just agreed to be on our board of directors, and so I wanted to just thank you and welcome you onto the board of directors.
I really love Satya, so I'm very honored. Thank you.
I know we come together every week, all week long, doing these wonderful spiritual things, practices, and principles, but it does take business and operations, and so there are 5 of us behind the scenes doing the business of the Satya Center, and so thank you all to whoever you are out there. So happy birthday, December babies. Sagittarius, is there another sign that goes along with December? Capricorn, there we go. So happy birthday. Also, it's a new month and we have a new theme. And the theme this month is joy. Joy. And it's also the time of year where so many different faith traditions celebrate in a very deep and holy way. And so we'll be talking about Christ consciousness all month long, awakening to our higher potential, awakening that path of love inside ourselves that many refer to as Christ consciousness, that inner light. What else was I going to say? Oh, the solstice. Michael mentioned the solstice celebration. I invite all of you to come, and if there's those of you in the room now, or if you have friends or family members that are artists or crafters that make something that's small and easy to transport, bring your goods to our solstice celebration and display them. For those last-minute holiday shoppers, we'd love to have some opportunities for people to see what creations that you've been making or your loved ones so that we can purchase those. So if you're interested in joining our Arts and Crafts Boutique on the solstice, please come see me or just bring your goods and wares to the solstice and they'll be displayed. Also along with our potluck and then our ceremony following that. And that's it. So, the path of happiness. The path of happiness. Did Pharrell Williams' song push you out of your comfort zone a bit? As you're standing there, not wanting to move, and then some of you moving and clapping. And yeah, this is the season to be jolly. La, 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 la. Ernest Holmes says, happiness and well-being have always been ours. They are ours now, for they are the very essence and truth of our being. We are born to be happy. And we all have that in common, don't we? We all have that in common, the desire to be happy, to feel well, to have a deep sense of peace, and find joy in the world. We all have that in common. Aristotle says, happiness is the meaning and purpose of life. Happiness is the meaning and purpose of life. Did you know that? Did you think it was something bigger, grander? It's happiness. He also says the whole aim and end of human existence is happiness. And happiness depends on ourselves. Each of us is responsible for our own happiness. And that truly is the message that we share here at the Satya Center. And all centers for spiritual living, New Thought centers, share that we are responsible, each of us, are responsible for our own experience, particularly our happiness. But we're not really taught to believe that. We are trained and conditioned to think that happiness comes from outside circumstances. That somehow if we manipulate the physical, that those things, those people will make us happy. And I'm going to challenge that today. There's a website and a movement called Project Happiness, bringing well-being into everyday life globally. And it says on this website, happiness is not an emotion, an inherited disposition, or even dependent on events that happen to you in life. Happiness is a perspective that everyone can create, said the Surgeon General. Although happiness is a timeless and universal human quest, only in recent years has research turned its focus on how happiness can be sustained and increased. Science has now confirmed that with certain practices, we can change the neural pathways of our brain. Happiness is a set of skills we can learn through practice. The research proves that happiness is possible through intentional habit changes, more than circumstantial changes. In fact, only 10% of our happiness is due to our external circumstances, and a full 90% is based on our inner environment. With 50% of our happiness level coming from our genes, and as much as 40% being accounted for by intentional daily activities and the choices that we make. I love this because it so leads us to science of mind, which the basic premise is change your thinking and change your life. It says that a full 90% is based on our inner environment. Our inner environment. And our inner environment is created primarily by the thoughts that we think. The thoughts that we think have a vibration that affect every part of our being. Our body, our mind, and our soul. And we are responsible for the thoughts we think, are we not? Mm-hmm. Or is someone else responsible for what you're thinking? And do you know that you have a choice? You can actually choose the thoughts you think? That's profound. That you get to choose what you're thinking about. And based on the choices that you make, based on the thoughts that you choose to think, you create a joyous environment or a depressed environment. So how's it going? That's kind of good news, bad news, isn't it? Because it's easy to put the blame outside of ourselves. Well, it's because of my, the amount of money I have, or it's because the home I live in. I'm not happy because of those things. Or I'm not happy because I'm not wearing the right clothes. Or I'm not happy because I'm too thin, too fat, I'm not happy because my husband, my wife, ... But what I know is our thoughts create. Our thoughts create our inner environment. And our inner environment, who we are, how we feel, how we think, and how we act, attracts our outside circumstances. So we become happy inside, and then the world outside reflects that happiness. We live in this holographic universe, this universe that mirrors back to us our consciousness, that mirrors back to us our thoughts, mirrors back to us our attitudes. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of you? You buying it?
You buying it?
No? Yes? So on this wonderful website, Project Happiness, and I encourage you to go there and check it out, they have, it talks a lot about daily practices, that you can actually do things to cultivate this happiness. So they've got Mindful Monday, they've got Gratitude Tuesday, Wednesday Wellness, Thoughtful Thursday, Friday Freedom, Saturday Social, and Sunday Soul. So this gives you really clear ideas of how to put this happiness into practice every day. And if you've got kids or grandkids, or if you feel like you're a big kid, then maybe you go there and you share this. You share these easy practices, because happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. So there's nothing more. I had to turn to Buddhism again for today's message, because Buddhism has such an easy, clear way of explaining happiness. And in Buddhism, they don't refer to happiness as much as a sense of well-being. So I'm going to use both of those words, happiness and well-being, meaning the same thing. So now, most of you know the story of the Buddha. The Buddha was raised as he's a prince, and he was raised in luxury and opulence because his father wanted to protect him from the suffering of the world. So he created a place where he wouldn't be exposed to any of the suffering, any death, any illness, any of the things that would cause him any mental suffering. But he had a friend, and the two of them snuck outside of the palace, and during those adventures outside of the palace, he actually witnessed suffering, human suffering, death, illness. And through that, he walked away from his life of luxury, his life of abundance, and he went on a quest to search for deeper meaning and purpose. And in that, he came to the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path of Compassion. And so I want to share these with you today as a path to happiness. Sound good? Mm-hmm. So the Four Noble Truths are you can compare it to going to the doctor. You go to a doctor, a Western medicine doctor, and typically that doctor will tell you about your symptoms, and then they will create a diagnosis. They will determine the diagnosis, and then they will give you the prognosis, and then they will give you a prescription, right? That's usually what happens. You go because you're struggling with something, an illness of some sort, and then the doctor will determine what the diagnosis of your illness is, and then the prognosis, what to expect, and then the prescription, what you can actually do. So the Four Noble Truths are, number one, is that suffering exists. That life, it's not only suffering, but during life in this human body, you can expect to experience suffering. Why? Because we have this wonderful thing inside our heads, this mind of ours that makes up stories about things. That we make up stories about what we like and what we don't like. And so during those making up stories about things, we can suffer. We can suffer with what is. I'm teaching a class at the moment, Loving What Is, the work of Byron Katie. And she says that when you argue with reality, what is, you lose only 100% of the time. So when we argue with what is, mentally argue with what is, we suffer. And that's what the Buddha was pointing out, that this world can induce suffering. And then the second noble truth is that suffering is caused by our desire. Our desire for things to be different than they are. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. And then the third noble truth is that you can actually overcome this. Phew, good news. There's a prognosis that we can actually move outside of this realm of struggle and suffering, being attached to wanting things to be the way you want them to be. And then the prescription. And the prescription is the Eightfold Noble Path. So there's a prescription. So Buddhism is such a wonderful, practical spirituality. And I believe that I know that Ernest Holmes studied these Eastern philosophies. And I say philosophies and not religions. He studied these ancient Eastern philosophies to come up with the science of mind. There's such a parallel here with the science of mind. So the Eightfold Noble Path is the prescription to relieve this sense of angst and suffering that seems to be an epidemic in humanity, that we struggle with what is. And we think that if we could change the outside world, if we could change our wife, our husband, if we could change our job, if we could have more money, if only the outside circumstances would change, I'd be happy. And he's saying, not so much. Not so much. It's an internal job. It's an inside job. That's so good. That means everything can stay the same, and I can choose to be happy. And the thing that science of mind tells us, the thing that metaphysics tells us, is that we are the cause of our life, of our outside circumstances. So if we change the inside, the outside will change. So it's the opposite of how we are conditioned to think. That once that's changed out there, then I'll be happy? No. You're happy and then the outside changes. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought I was talking to myself. Okay, so the Eightfold Noble Path. Number one is right understanding. Right understanding. To see things from a broader perspective. To have a better relationship with reality, to not argue with what's going on, to see what's going on for what it is, and stop creating stories about it. It should be this way, it should be that way, blah, 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 blah. What is, is. To come into right understanding. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, if we believe in suffering, we shall suffer. If we believe in suffering, we shall suffer. If we believe something should be other than it is, we shall suffer. Life responds to us in the way we approach it. We should choose that which we wish to embody, and by constant attention to it, take on its characteristics. So we focus on what we want, take on its characteristics, and then we become it. We focus on what it means to be happy. And then we become it. Let us choose to be identified with power, with love and beauty, with peace and happiness. Let us identify ourselves with abundance and with success, says Dr. Ernest Holmes. That is our nature. Let us identify with those things. That's why we say those affirmations. I am abundant, happy, healthy, and whole. Why do we say those things? Because it's the truth of our being. And it's better to think those thoughts than some of the negative thoughts that we could think. Dale Carnegie said, it isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you're doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It's what you think about. That's a good one, isn't it? He said again, it isn't what you have or who you are or where you are or what you're doing that makes you happy or unhappy. It is what you think about. So what are you thinking about? How do you know what you think about? This is a good gauge and a good measurement. You look at your life. You look outside at what's showing up in your life. Because you can't hide from your secret thoughts. They show up as your life. Do you like that? Do you like what you've manifested? Sometimes? Ernest Holmes says, let us waste no further time looking for the secret of success or the key to happiness. The door is already open, and all may enter. The door is already open. Meaning, once we have right understanding, once we understand that we can utilize our mind, that we can train our mind to think of the things that will bring us joy, so that we can share that joy more abundantly, the things that will create a field of love around us, that door is already open for all of us. All of us have the ability to open up our hearts, to open up our minds, and to bring that forth. It's not just for some of us, it's for all of us. So we develop that right understanding, and then we manifest that. Number 2 on the Eightfold Path is right intention. So right intention. We ask ourselves, what's my motivation for doing this thing? What's my intention here? Does my intention align with love, or does my intention align with fear? And so we align our intention with what brings us more joy and more happiness. Is this serving me? We ask ourselves, what's my motivation here? Number 3 is right speech. Am I being impeccable with my word? I love the teachings, the Toltec teachings of Don Miguel Ruiz. He talks about being impeccable with your word. What does that mean? It means being truthful. Being truthful with yourself and with others. Knowing that our words and our thoughts, because thoughts inside our head are just silent words, that our thoughts actually align with what it is we want. So maybe this week you notice what you're saying, what you're sharing with other people. Because the thoughts you think and the words you share are manifesting always. The law is always responding to our words and our thoughts. Are you bringing more joy into the world through what you're sharing, through what you're talking about? Right speech. Number 4 is right action. Isn't this practical spirituality? Are my actions for the highest good of all? Am I in congruence? Are my thoughts, are my words, and my actions in alignment with happiness, with love, with wholeness, with beauty, with all of those divine attributes that feel so good when I'm embodying them? Mahatma Gandhi said happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. This is ancient wisdom, ageless wisdom. It's congruence. It's living in alignment. It's having that inner spark, that Christ consciousness, that elevated consciousness, the cosmic consciousness, embodied in all you think, all you say, and all that you do. And then right livelihood. What do? What's your vocation? Is what you do, your work, your career, your hobbies, are they in alignment with your joy, with your happiness? Or are you doing things that you don't love? That's a choice too. And so maybe if you have a job or that you don't love, maybe you set the intention to have a job that turns you on, that lights you up, that has that ripple out effect of creating more joy and happiness and beauty and love in the world. Right livelihood. Project Happiness says, many people tell themselves, if I work hard, I'll be successful. If I'm successful, I'll be happy. But recent discoveries in psychology and neuroscience show that this formula is backwards. Happiness fuels success, not the other way around. In fact, science has shown that the brain at positive is 31% more productive than at negative, neutral, or stressed. The brain at a positive set point is more productive. That's why we meditate. That's why we say these affirmations. That's why we take classes that uplift us. That's why we surround ourselves here on Sunday with those individuals that see us for who we truly are. Beautiful, magnificent, radiant beings of light. So what do you love? What do you love? That's a question that I invite you to ask yourself every day as often as possible. Do I love this? And what would I love? Do I love this? Do I love the way I'm being? Do I love the thoughts I'm thinking? You're at choice all the time. You're here to be happy. That's the purpose. That's the whole point. We didn't get that memo. We're here to be happy. So number 6 is right effort. I'm going to rush through these because I see the little ones coming. So number 6 is right effort. Am I doing my best? Are you doing your best? And your best is always good enough. Your best is always good enough. Am I doing my best to elevate my spiritual game? Am I showing up as the presence of love in the world? Am I doing my best? Am I guarding my heart from being completely open and vulnerable? Or do I reserve that just for a few people? How about doing your best and being open and vulnerable to bringing your love to everyone? Number 7 is right mindfulness. And the Buddha encouraged meditation. And I would add prayer, because it's through prayer that we activate that creative law, that we activate our happiness, is through the speaking of what it is we love. Pray without ceasing, it says in the ancient text. That means praying all the time, affirming what it is you're here for, affirming what it is you would love. That's prayer. And then number 8, right meditation, right mindfulness, 7 and 8. So in the Tao of Pooh, it says, do you really want to be happy? Can you begin by being appreciative of who you are and what you've got? Because I'm sure who you are right now is perfect. Why? Because it is. And if you're a lover of reality, if you're in harmony with the divine is always perfect. And so who you are right now is perfect. And what you've got, meaning everything that you've manifested in your life, your home, your job, your family, your friends, it's all perfect. And what I know is what we focus on expands. So we love what we've got. We love who we are. And we have gratitude for that. And I know that gratitude is the most magnetic energy, along with love, in the universe. So simply cultivating that energy, that vibration of gratitude, will bring you in alignment with everything you desire. Thank you. So I close in prayer, and I speak in the first person. And if my words align with you, then they're your words too. So I breathe, step into this beautiful space of these 4 noble truths and this 8-fold path, saying thank you. Thank you for this wisdom, this ancient, ageless wisdom that is still so relevant to living life now here on this planet. And so I recognize that there is only one life, only one love, only one presence, infinite, eternal, timeless, boundless. This one living presence, call it spirit, call it God, is pressed down and flowing out and expressing itself as each of us individualized expressions of this one life, perfect, whole, and complete. Each of us with this amazing ability to think, to activate the mind of the universe through our own mind. So I direct my thought now. And as I direct my thought, I activate the divine creative process into action. I activate a change within my mind. I'm activating these neural pathways through thinking new thoughts, happy thoughts, positive thoughts. So what I know and accept for my life right now is that I am blessed and grateful for this body that I have, this amazing body that I have to move around this wonderful planet, to experience the abundance of this natural universe through this wonderful body that I have, this temple for my spirit. I give great thanks for my mind, my ability to navigate this third-dimensional reality and think and to activate change through the process of my thinking. So I elevate my thoughts now to thoughts that activate peace, thoughts that activate joy, strength and power and love and clear communication, thoughts that activate my intelligence, my wisdom, thoughts that remind me that I am a child of the divine, that I'm already in heaven. As the Master Teacher said, the kingdom, the queendom of heaven is within. So I activate that realm of bliss within myself, and I say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit, for this life. Thank you for my ability to serve humanity, to make a change, to be the change that the world needs now. And I send out this blessing of love, of acceptance, of compassion to each and every person in this room, to each and every being in Ogden, in Utah, across this amazing country of United States, across this continent of the Americas, through all bodies of water and through all landmass, through all sentient beings, through the natural universe, to what is known and what is unknown. I send this blessing and activate change, and activate healing and wholeness and congruence. I am so blessed and grateful right now. And I simply release these words, knowing that they're already happening. Life is good, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
Thank you for blessing us with your presence today and being a part of the Satya Center. You're invited to join Reverend Ali and Reverend Lyle each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for your dose of connection, inspiration, and co-creation. The Satya Center is located at 795 24th Street, Ogden, Utah. For directions, a map, and our service times, please see our website, thesatyacenter.org. This program was brought to you by the kind donations from the members of the Satya Center. Thank you.